The hunting horn is the most complex weapon in the game, but I wouldn't say that it is the hardest. Yes, you do have a lot of songs and combos, but you do not lose a lot by just learning 3 combos and doing the same song over and over. The hunting horn is also the closest thing to a support class we have in Monster Hunter Wilds, with a very powerful damage buff for the entire party, and it does really good damage. However, there is some things missing in Wilds compared to World. There is no healing, there is no earplugs buff, for example. It is unclear if we are gonna get those buffs somewhere else, if we're gonna get them, for example, from a special hunting horn. For now, you have 3 nodes. White is triangle, red is circle, and yellow is triangle and circle at the same time. Every time you attack, you're gonna cast one of those. You can see the notes you play on the bar below your sharpness, and it will tell you the name of the song if you can do one. You can press right trigger to perform the song, and you can do what we call an encore. That is, you press triangle and circle at the same time after performing the song, and you can do the song again. That's the way that you get the strongest buffs, and you get double the damage, and you get all of the effects mostly doubled. You should always encore if you can. And yes, performing the song is technically an attack as well. You are gonna hit the monster with it, so that's pretty cool. I am gonna break down the songs really quick. You got triangle, circle, triangle. That is the extra damage buff. You should always open up with that song. You want the extra damage on you at all times. You also have self-improvement. That is triangle, triangle. It is just faster movement. You can move a little faster, and that's party-wide, by the way. Both of those buffs are for the party, so you definitely should do them. And Echo Wave, that's gonna be your main damage ability, is triangle, circle, circle. It does a lot of damage, and it does a stupid amount of stun damage. If you hit the monster on the head with this thing, you're gonna stun them really easily. You also have some situational songs like Fire Resistance or Sonic Waves. Of course they are useful, but you do not really use them unless the boss is something that you need it for. Sonic Waves is kinda weird. It only affects certain monsters that are weak to ultrasound, and it will make them, for example, it will make a monster that flies to get down from the air, stuff like that. That's gonna be more of a thing that you should check out on a guide for every monster. It is not every monster that it will do something, but yes. The 3 you should remember: more damage, more movement speed, and the boom boom. Finally, you do have the offset melody, which is literally an offset. If you hit a monster while it hits you, you're gonna create a clash and you're gonna block the attack. It takes a long time to set up, and it doesn't do the most damage. So unless you are like a top of the world speedrunner, I would not recommend you to pick up the offset at all. I am not gonna break down the offset combos in this video, because the people that can time a monster's attack 7 seconds ahead of time are not the people that need a guide on how to play the hunting horn, okay? Don't worry, it is not a big deal. There is, however, a lot of trickery and combos that you should learn any level, and that's gonna be the most important one. And I made this guide pretty much because everybody that tried to explain this to me lost me. I had to actually get in the game and figure it out. The new ability that you have in Monster Hunter Wilds is the Echo Bubble. You hold right trigger and cross, and you can play 3 notes really quickly without actually doing the attack swings. Just play the notes. So that means you can do a song super fast now, and that's the big deal you gotta remember. Also, this Echo Bubble is a literal bubble on the ground, and if you stand on it you get more damage. So now that you know what the Echo Bubble does, we are gonna break down the combos. The first combo you gotta remember is the first combo that you should do on every fight, and that's gonna be your damage buff combo. That is right trigger and cross, remember Echo Bubble. Then we're gonna do triangle, circle, triangle very quickly so we can do it in the animation of the Echo Bubble, and then you hit right trigger, and then after that you hit triangle and circle. That's gonna give you the most powerful damage buff in the game with an encore in 7 seconds. And yes, you can do this combo without the right trigger and cross, without the Echo Bubble. It's just gonna be slower, and that's a problem because you wanna get the damage buffs the earliest possible so you get the best uptime, obviously. When it comes to self-improvement, the movement speed buff, that is not a problem. You do not need to do Echo Bubble. You can if you want, but you don't need to. That one is very simple. That is just triangle, triangle, and then right trigger, and then triangle and circle, and that's it. It is a combo with really good damage, and you can move in between attacks and and it's not a problem, so that's pretty good. That's the one thing you sacrifice in the Echo Bubble. You gotta stay still the entire time, and that is not great in a lot of fights. A cool thing about the Hunting Horn is that during the Encore animation you do get Hyper Armor. That means that if the monster tries to knock you down, like any pushback, you are not gonna get a pushback. You still get damage, but you do not get pushed back, so the combo goes through, and that's huge. So we assume we get the damage buff, and then we get self-improvement, so we got both buffs. The next thing you gotta do is spam the best combo in the game over and over and over again. And the names are really confusing because you gotta do Echo Bubble, and then you gotta do Echo Waves, and then you gotta perform an encore. Like, why is it Echo Waves? Like, why two abilities called Echo? Like, why? This is so confusing for no reason. Call it something else. Call it the Boom Boom song or something. But okay, I am just gonna tell you the inputs. You do right trigger and cross, then triangle, circle, circle, and then right trigger, and then triangle and circle. See, that's way easier to remember. It is a swing, and the encore is another swing. And not only it is the best damage you can do, it is insane the stun damage you can do on this thing. There is also like a multi-hit thing going on where like you hit the monster once, but like sometimes you do damage more than once. I am not entirely sure how that works, but yeah, that's another thing piling up on why you do so much damage. It takes about 8 seconds to do this combo, and that's the main problem, that you gotta be stationary to do the Echo Bubble variant. You can once again not do an Echo Bubble and just go triangle, circle, circle, and right trigger, and then encore. That's fine, but the Echo Bubble makes it so you do it faster, and that's most of your damage. Another little trick you can do is you can get in focus mode and hit with right bumper. That's gonna be your focus strike. It doesn't do a lot of damage like the other weapons, but you get to play 3 notes very quickly during that animation, like in an Echo Bubble. So you basically get a song for free for no animation whatsoever. So yes, you should do focus strikes if you can. That will increase your damage a lot. The flow, the approach on how to play the Hunting Horn is also very simple, actually. You wanna get your damage buff, you wanna get your movement speed buff, and then you spam Sonic Waves until your fingers bleed. And that's pretty much it. You refresh the buffs. When they run out, of course, you can see the buffs on top of your HP. One thing you should remember is that when you move, you gotta redo an Echo Bubble on top of you so you can keep getting the damage buff. But aside from it, it is really freaking simple. I know it is intimidating. I was really intimidated by the Hunting Horn, but it is not that hard. Because yes, there is a lot more variants and special situational combos you can do, but you do not need to do it. You still do a stupid amount of damage just doing Echo Waves. It is a very decent weapon. Is this a beginner weapon? Probably not, okay? There are a lot of more simpler weapons out there, like the Great Sword and the Sword and Shield. Those are the 2 I recommend to everybody. But if you wanna play support, or if you really like the Hunting Horn, there is a lot of great things here. You should give it a try. There is a lot of really cool things here. They simplified this weapon a lot for whiles, and I appreciate it because the Hunting Horn in World, honestly, it kinda sucked. I hated it, and also, it is really good for team play. Like, keep in mind, it is 15% more damage for everybody in the team, so the more people you have with you, the more valuable you are. Even if you are not a top tier weapon, just being able to give people more damage makes you give more damage. Any competent team needs a Hunting Horn. I will do a follow-up to this guide on the full release of the game because there is gonna definitely be some interesting variants of the Hunting Horn. When I get to see the crafting trees of the Hunting Horn, there are definitely gonna be some sort of special abilities you can do with them, so I am very interested in taking a look at that. And subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching!